Hello, Wheel of Time community, and welcome to the Wheel of Time Pod-Thru. I'm Teresa.
And I'm Tim.
And together we're going to pod through Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time book series. How you doing, Tim?
Doing good. It's a new year, and it's been an interesting transition for some stuff, but I'm looking forward to 2020.
Me too. I'm just really glad 2019 is over.
Yes, done, sealed, put in the ground.
Yeah. Fresh starts.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right. Well, before we get started, we just want to remind you that this is a reread. We assume that you have read the entire series, so there will be spoilers. You have been warned. All right, Tim, what are we going to be doing in today's episode?
Today we'll be discussing chapters 40 and 41 of The Dragon Reborn, where we travel with Mat and Thom for some quick heroics and then check in to see Moiraine threaten Faile. Chapter 40 is called A Hero in the Night, and the icon is the Lion of Andor.
Here's a quick summary to act as a reminder for those of you who are not reading along with us. The Grey Gull docks at Erangel, and Mat and Thom are ready to disembark. Captain Malia is still trying to ingratiate himself with Mat, trying to ferret out what a young Andoran lord might be up to, but after watching Mat deplete all of his food stores and losing a lot of coin gambling with him, he seems glad to see Mat go. The docks are full of starving refugees, and though Mat talks a good game about looking out for number one, and only fools help others for nothing, the starving children get to him, and he shoves a handful of coins at a young mother, telling her to buy food for her kids. Mat asks one of the soldiers directing the crowd where he can find an inn, but he's told there are so many people coming through he'd be lucky to find a hedge to sleep under. They are coming too fast for the mills or farms to keep up with producing food, and everyone is starving. There are fresh orders from the Queen to stop the crossing, and if anyone tries to enter Andor, they are to be sent back. The soldier hustles them along with the crowd, and Thom muses that the orders don't sound like Morghese. She always had a temper, but a soft heart too, especially for the poor and hungry. Mat and Thom try inn after inn, but there isn't a bed to be had. At the fifth inn, Mat asks after the stable in desperation. At first, the innkeeper says no, but Mat starts pulling out gold coins, and greed wins out. Mat even manages to gamble the innkeeper out of 2 horses, though he paid enough to have bought at least one of them with the amount spent on a little bread and cheese and the night in the stable. Still, Mat's grateful for a roof over his head when it starts to rain hard. They eat and settle in for the night. A woman enters the stable pulling a cart. She lights a lantern, and Mat can't see how she did it so quickly. Mat is about to let her know he and Thom are there when the stable doors open again and 4 men come in out of the rain. One of the men, Tammuz, addresses her as Aludra and taunts her that she did not run away as fast as she thought. Aludra responds that it's bad enough that his blunder got her kicked out of the guild, but then he chases her down as well? Not cool. Tammuz calls her a fool and accuses her of making a living selling what the guild alone has the right to make. He pulls a knife, saying how happy he will be to cut her throat. Before he really knows what's going on, Mat turns into an action star, swings down from the hayloft from a rope, and plows into the men, scattering them. Thom tosses him his quarterstaff in time to knock the blade out of Tammuz's hand and knock him out. The other 3 all attack him with knives, but Mat handles them with his staff. When the last man fell, he glares at Aludra and demands, "Did you have to choose this stable to be murdered in?" Putting her own knife back, Aludra snarks at him, but in a playful way, to show that she is not your average damsel. Then remarks on how it's just like a story to have been saved by a gleeman and a young hero. They have some playful banter, and for those who don't remember the Great Hunt, Aludra explains that she was an illuminator, mistress of the chapter house in Carrion, but Tammuz messed up the fireworks show for the king, and the guild held her responsible and kicked her out. Aludra does not sell guild secrets, but she refuses to starve, so she does sell fireworks. She needs to go before the men wake up. She has no money to reward Mat and Thom for the rescue, but she does have fireworks. Thom protests, but Aludra shushes him. She gives them a variety of fireworks with very strict instructions for each. Thom asks her how she lit the lantern so fast, but she won't spill that secret yet. She kicks Tammuz in the ribs on her way out. Mat and Thom figure they should be going too. The men are starting to rouse, and they don't want soldiers sent after them. As they head out into the rain, Mat says, "Thom, if I ever look like acting the hero again, you kick me."
This chapter opens up where we see true refugees for the first time.
Yeah.
We've seen hints of it in previous chapters, but not like this. A mass of people just milling around the docks with what few possessions they could carry with them, not really knowing what to do next. They got away from the people burning their homes and their villages, but they're not sure they're safe yet, and most of them may not even have a clue where to go. And all of them are starving. This is just the start of what will become a huge problem in every land as more and more war breaks out across Loranland.
Yeah, like, that's true. There are tons of refugees throughout the rest of the series.
Yep.
Because all of the countries start warring with each other, it seems. Mm-hmm. Damn it, Rand.
Damn it, Rand.
Mat's luck is settling into a rhythm. He doesn't win every toss like he did on his magical night, but he wins way more than he loses. And he almost always wins when it's important. So he's basically bleeding money from here on out because he can always win more.
Yeah, right? It's easy to see Mat as a scoundrel or someone who's just out for as much money and fun as he can get.
Mm-hmm. Well, he kind of is.
He taunts Captain Malia with each chance he gets. He makes the comment to Thom, "I'll help anyone who can pay. Only fools and stories do something for nothing." But then we get a turn, because he has not even left the docks and thrusts a lot of money into the hands of a mother whose children are obviously going hungry. He thinks to himself, bloody children crying was getting on my nerves, that's all. Trying to convince himself that he's tough and jaded, but the truth is that Mat is a teddy bear with a huge heart.
Yeah.
He talks a good game, but in reality, he has a heart of gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I love later when Thom and Aludra are kind of talking about Mat, about he's young, and Tom's like, and not nearly as bad as he tries to convince himself he is.
Tom's very right on that, yeah.
Yeah. So we get our first hint that something is up with Morghese.
Yeah.
Andor will be turning back refugees, and Thom points out that this is really out of character for Morghese. She always had a soft spot for the poor and hungry. So something has changed.
Yeah, I think Robert Jordan even goes to the point of making it very clear that even beggars in Camelin can go to the Queen's doorstep and get food. So
yeah, I remember that. I think that's in the first book.
It is in the very first book.
Yeah.
So it's something very counter to who Morghese is to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mat is just fun to read. Mm-hmm. The way he haggles with the innkeeper by shaking his coat so the man can hear the massive amount of coins that he's stashed in his many pockets, it's such a great move. Mat makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the more compelling things in the early books, at least for me, is watching all of the Two Rivers people discover and grow in their abilities. The girls grow in the power and end up discovering really amazing things. Mm-hmm. The boys struggle to figure out how their abilities work too, but with little, or in Mat's case, no, real guidance at all. The way Mat reflects on how he wins enough and has confidence to let everything ride on a toss of the dice just kind of highlights that he knows that there's something to his luck, while at the same time he doesn't know how it works. And it's just fun to walk with him on that journey.
Yeah. So hello, Aludra. It's so nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Who knew when we read The Great Hunt the first time that these characters would come back?
Yeah.
And I have to say that I really enjoy Aludra. She's kind of a minorish character, but she makes a big impression.
Yeah.
She comes back a few more times and is actually pretty important for Mat's storyline.
Especially at the end, yeah.
Yeah. And one thing I love about her is her sense of humor. She's got spunk, and she doesn't take crap from anyone.
Nope.
I love that she kicks Tammuz in the ribs before she leaves.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had to include it in the summary. But, I mean, she doesn't get a lot of page time, but I really enjoy her when she's around.
Yeah.
I like the way she talks. I like just her overall attitude and the way she handles people. I really enjoy her.
Yeah. Jordan does really good with fight scenes. And
he does.
This one is no exception. But I love the detail that Mat crashes to the stable floor and coins go flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Because he's just got so many on him. For some reason, I just can't get the picture of Sonic the Hedgehog, the video game, out of my mind, and the sound of all the coins getting dropped when he would die. Like, it kind of pulls me out of the story for a bit, and that's my fault, not Jordan's. But
yeah, I totally see what you're saying now.
I just want to state for the record that it's Lanfear's fault that Eludra got kicked out of the Illuminators Guild. She was the one that led Rand and Loyal into the chapter house, causing the whole chain of events that led it to catching fire.
I'm pretty sure it was Rand's fault.
Huh?
I mean, Lanfear unlocked the door.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But, I mean, they were Fane's Trollocs that herded them there. And Rand made a series of bad decisions. So I'm pretty sure that we can blame Rand.
Okay.
Like, I mean, Lanfear was already gone by the time he lit the last fireworks that started the big fire.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Like, he left her outside with Loyal.
Okay, I remember that part now.
It was Rand. It was Rand.
I forgot that. Okay, yeah, you're right. My bad. It was Rand.
I mean, yes, Lanfear's the reason they got into the chapter house because she had to unlock the door.
Right.
But I mean, Rand and Loyal were just going to go over the wall anyway, so it's Rand's fault.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine blaming Rand.
Okay, yeah, blame Rand. Thom is feeling pretty guilty in this scene.
Yeah.
Eludra says they goofed up a performance for the king, and the book says, quote, "Galdrian," Thom said, sounding almost as wooden as she had. "Well, he is a dead king now, and he'll see no more fireworks." End quote. Then Eludra says the guild basically blames her for the war, as if that one night of disaster made Galdrian die, and Thom reacts to that too. So between Thom and Rand, like, they really screwed Eludra over.
Yeah. One of the many things I like about Eludra is her sense of honor. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, she makes fireworks and sells them to make a living, but she never gives up guild secrets until later on when the guild is basically destroyed. Even though she's been kicked out and feels that it's unfair, she still respects the sanctity of the secrets of how to make fireworks. The secrets that she does sell later are her secrets that she came up with on her own.
Yeah. So can we just talk about how Mat is a fool for a minute?
Okay.
So we get this little story. Quote, "He had seen fireworks twice in his life. Peddlers had brought them to Emmonsfield at great expense to the village council. When he was 10, he had tried to cut one open to see what was inside and had caused an uproar. Bran Elvire, the mayor, had cuffed him. Dorrel Baron, who had been the wisdom then, had switched him, and his father had strapped him when he got home. Nobody in the village would talk to him for a month except for Rand and Perrin, and they mostly told him what a fool he had been." End quote. Eludra gives them the rundown on the fireworks and tells them never to cut one open because you can lose a hand that way. "I've heard that," Mat said dryly. She frowned at him as if wondering whether he meant to do it anyway. So you know that he's going to do it again.
Yep.
He is exactly that kind of fool.
Yeah. Hey, nothing blew up last time. It's totally safe to do it.
Totally fine. No problem.
Yeah.
Matt's an idiot. I love him so much.
I feel like this chapter is really all about Mat doing things he thinks only a fool would do. And he does most of them without thinking. He jumps into the fray to save someone who is outnumbered. He offers her coin because he knows that she will need it now and may not be able to sell her wares anytime soon. I love how we end this chapter with Mat asking Thom to kick him next time he ever acts like the hero again. But what undercuts the comedy here is not a witty comment to make Mat look foolish for what he did. Thom chooses to point out that Mat is foolish for thinking he's more cynical than he really is by saying, "And what would you have done differently?" Mat is a good person, the same way Thom is a good person under the rough exterior. Their actions prove that time and time again in this story. Thom is taking a second to build Mat up here instead of tearing him down. And it's just a great way to end the chapter.
Yeah, definitely.
That wraps up chapter 40. Before we get to chapter 41, here's a quick word from our sponsors.
Today's episode of the Wheel of Time Pod-Thru is brought to you by a history lesson. Many, many moons ago, man discovered fire, and it was good. Then man tried creating fire in many different ways with varying success. And man thought, This is hard. So man said, screw that, and man invented matches. And it was good. Never again would man have to start a fire with flint and steel, or worse yet, by rubbing two sticks together. Unless he was camping and is one of those weird survivalist people. But that's less good. Matches. It's all good. Thus endeth the lesson.
Chapter 41 is called A Hunter's Oath, and the icon is the wolf.
Perrin watches as their ship pulls into Ilion, trying to avoid Moiraine and Zareen, staring daggers at each other. Moiraine was not pleased to find out that Zareen expected them to lead her to the Horn of Valir. Perrin had gotten into shouting matches with the girl, and he's not sure which of them uttered the words, but now the whole crew knew that Moiraine was Aes Sedai, and that she was not happy. They tiptoed in silence when she was on deck. Loyal had taken to hiding in his cabin. The snow goose had outrun the wolves that followed Perrin from the mountains, and he was sure a city as large as Ilion could keep the wolves at bay. He found himself in the wolf dream twice, but both times Hopper had chased him out, saying he was too young yet. Once on land, Moiraine tells Zareen that it's time to part ways. She says nope, that a hunter needs to follow strange trails, and BT dubs, her name is Faile, please, and thank you. Moiraine questions her one more time, and Faile says she is certain that there's nothing Moiraine can do to stop her. She knows a little of the rules Aes Sedai follow, and she doesn't think Lan would do what it would take to stop her. Lan's like, try me. But Perrin stops that line right away, saying there's no need to threaten her. Moiraine tells her, quote, "You will serve by your hunter's oath to do as I say, to heed me, and not to leave us. Once you know more than you should of what we do, I will not allow you to fall into the wrong hands. Know that for truth, girl. You will swear to act as one of us and do nothing that will endanger our purpose. You will ask no questions of where we go or why. You will be satisfied with what I choose to tell you. All of this you will swear, or you will remain here in Ilion, and you will not leave this marsh until I return to release you, if it takes the rest of your life. That I swear." She agrees and swears her hunter's oath. Moiraine tells Perrin she is his responsibility. "It seems you have found Min's falcon, Ta'veren. I have tried to discourage her, but it appears she will perch on your shoulder whatever I do. The pattern weaves a future for you, it seems. Yet remember this. If I must, I will snip your thread from the pattern. And if the girl endangers what must be, you will share her fate." So it's threats all around, and then a very unhappy party makes their way into Ilion.
Reading the description of Ilion, I really get images of southern Florida.
Ew.
Diverse and colorful wildlife, saltiness in the air, and oppressive humidity.
Yeah.
This is not a place that I would ever want to live, and we have not even gotten to talk about the people yet.
Okay.
As much as Faile becomes really tiring, the woman can really get under Moiraine's skin, and she can do it in a way that none of the Two Rivers people were ever able to do. So while I'm not a fan of the high school drama that she brings with her to a situation, I'm totally on board with it in this chapter because Moiraine deserves it. If she had not tried to teach Perrin a lesson, Perrin would have clued her into Faile's details right away. And all of the tension that we have in this scene would never have happened.
I don't know. To be honest, I kind of want to nope right out of this chapter. I'm getting really sick of the way Jordan is portraying every female character in this book.
Yeah.
Like every last one of them, except for possibly Elaine, has been catty and problematic. And if we weren't plagued by the drama with Egwene and Nynaeve at every turn, maybe the crew tiptoeing around and Loyal hiding from Moiraine and Faile would be funnier.
Yeah.
But as it is, though, I feel like Jordan is beating a dead horse, and that horse is not so flattering to women in general. It's like, oh, these poor put-upon young men are being bullied by unreasonable women at every turn. It's like, I get it, bitches be crazy. Can we move on now?
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. Like, hearing you talk about that, I've had a problem with this chapter from the beginning when I started reading it, trying to prep for this podcast because it just didn't sit well with me. And like Moiraine is being she's being very bitchy.
Yeah,
and
she's absolutely being super, super difficult in this book. Like, so when you say that she kind of deserves it, like, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, Moiraine is a problem in this book.
But I really appreciate what you're saying, that it would go over much better if we didn't also have Egwene and Nynaeve going at each other left and right.
Yeah. Like, if Egwene and Nynaeve weren't constantly bickering and being so petty and stupid about it, then seeing Faile as, like, a burr under Moraine's saddle would be funny.
It would.
You know, like, what? Because Moiraine is Aes Sedai, and she always is trying to be in control of everything and manipulating everything, having those little stingers from Moiraine would normally be pretty funny. But it's just so much of the same thing just spread around. Like, except for Aludra, who was totally awesome.
Right.
But is on page for, like, what? 3 pages, maybe? Like,
Just
she's in this book for, like, a nanosecond. Every single female character in this particular book is terrible. And it's like, Jordan, what are you doing? He doesn't do this for the whole series.
No, he
does
doesn't.
have some amazing female characters. These women are amazing female characters. Well, okay, maybe not Faile, but, like, in general. But, like, in this book particularly, he really does a disservice to all of his female characters. And by this point, I mean, we're in the last
2/3
third of the book. You know, it's like, I'm done. I'm done with this whole thing over and over again. Like, yeah, women are just emotional and unreasonable and irrational and they're just terrible. Okay, thank you. Snooze. Like, come on, man. Help me out here. I don't know. Maybe it's just getting to me more so now. I don't know why, for reasons I don't know. All I'm saying is I'm getting sick of it. Because, I mean, usually I'm not analyzing it chapter by chapter, so I can just sort of brush over it. But because we're doing the podcast and reading it very carefully and analyzing it and going over every detail, I think it's just getting to me more than usual because I can't just skim past it.
Right. It's there in your face every second. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, usually it doesn't bother me this much because I just breeze through it. But because of the podcast, because of the nature of what we're doing, I have to, like, dig in and live in it. And I don't like my surroundings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can we go back to Mat? I really enjoyed the Mat chapter.
Yeah.
I had so much more fun with Mat.
I agree. We should be with Mat more.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm not thrilled with what is happening in this chapter, but really it's this book in general. I don't like what's going on with the female characters in this book. I think Jordan did them all dirty.
Yeah, he'll get better later, but
he will.
This
He
book,
absolutely will. This is the worst.
Yeah.
Like, they all improve in future books. I don't think any of them are as bad, except for possibly Faile.
Yeah.
The first half of the next book is
Faile's
terrible.
The worst.
By the end of the next book, she redeems herself. But for the first half of the next book, she's probably at her worst.
Yeah.
But, like, Egwene is at her worst in this book. She is so much better in all of the future books than she is in this book.
Well, even Moiraine.
Yeah, Moiraine, too. Moiraine's at her worst in this book. Like, I don't know what burr he had under his saddle. Like, I don't know what his deal was with women when he was riding the Dragon Reborn. He must have been having a rough patch. Because across the board, all of his women are just portrayed so poorly in the Dragon Reborn. And they all are so much better in future books. Yeah. So something must have been going on.
I don't know. As frustrating as it is that Perrin is still running from the wolves, it's nice that he does finally come to a place where he doesn't have to think about it. The wolves not being around him gives him the opportunity to realize that he feels empty without them being there. He will get to a place where he figures it out, but we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Perrin smells Faile's scent for the first time as they're getting ready to exit the boat. It's described as a clean herbal scent coming through the spices and tar and the stinks of the dock. I think this is the first time that he identifies a scent of a specific person. From this point on, that clean herbal scent is going to be mixed with the sense of the kind of emotions that Faile is feeling, which means that the wolf powers are still leveling up. Once he starts to understand how his sense of smell is totally useful, Perrin starts to get a little more comfortable with his wolf powers.
Yeah, like that smelling thing really comes in handy.
We get a showdown between Moiraine and Faile that Faile basically loses.
Yeah.
She ends up getting to join the party, but she has to agree to do what Moiraine tells her, as well as not ask questions about where they're going or what they're doing. Then she finds out that Perrin is going to be responsible for her. And is it me, or is Moiraine really snarky when she tells Perrin that he's found the falcon men has foreseen?
Yeah.
Like, she starts off snarky, calling him a Tavarin, as if this is his fault for the pattern forcing the situation. Then threatens to kill him if Faile gets them in trouble, and storms off. Where's the epic Aes Sedai calm?
When has Moiraine ever had the epic Aes Sedai calm?
Good point.
For someone who's always so calm and in control, she shows a lot of anger.
She really does, doesn't she?
I mean, she's more calm than some of them, but Moiraine has a temper. And these Two Rivers people manage to set it off more often than anyone else.
You know, there's a reason Moiraine and Suan get along.
Yeah. So Faile gives her hunter's oath, and Moiraine touches her forehead and says, "Done." And it causes Faile to shiver.
Yeah.
So that seems like Moiraine used the power somehow to, like, seal Faile to them, or make her swearing like an official bonding or something.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure how. Like, what do you think this is?
Okay, so I'm going to 100% put it out there that Jordan didn't flesh this out and didn't put this out very well in the text.
Okay.
But
like, he forgot that he did it?
Well, I don't think he forgot that he did it, because he does have, there's a scene that's coming up in, I think, the next chapter, where everything goes, well, it's in a couple chapters. Everything goes sideways, they're going to leave Ilion, and Moiraine finds out one of the Forsaken is there ruling.
Right.
And she says basically to Faile, look, the Forsaken's ruling the city, so I would not force you to stay. You still have a chance to go. I think what's going on in that scene and this scene here is that the promise was that she would make her stay here if she didn't swear to them. So when she touches her, I think she's putting some kind of a weave on her that will force her to stay in Ilion if she breaks her word.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
Again, that's me trying to put the pieces together, and I don't see any real text there to support what I'm saying, except that there is a random passage where she's like, I wouldn't force you to stay later. So I think that's what she's been sealed. The deal is they've, basically spit and shake hands.
It's an unbreakable vow.
So if she tries to break that unbreakable vow, she is going to be held by the power here in Ilion forever.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's any text that explains any of this. But, I mean, it certainly seems like something is going on here.
Yeah. Well, maybe not forever, at least until Moiraine dies. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that we can know for sure what's going on. I don't think it's in there anywhere. But you definitely agree that something's happening.
Yeah, something is definitely going on with the power.
Okay.
And we get the start of a very long, very frustrating journey. That will be the relationship of Perrin and Faile. Faile demands answers that she really does not have the right to demand, and Perrin picks her up by the arm without asking and places her on his horse. Neither will agree to use the correct name for each other, and soon will have enough petty resentment to fill a after-school special.
Yeah, Jordan does a lot of things really well, but romance is not one of them. There are a few exceptions, but most of his romantic relationships don't make sense and aren't very convincing.
No.
Perrin and Faile do nothing but fight with each other, and then all of a sudden they're in love. I mean, I'm not automatically against the hate to love trope, but it's tricky. And it has to be done really well if you're going to pull it off. And I just don't think Jordan succeeded with these two, you know? But maybe this reread will convince me otherwise. Who knows?
Stranger things have happened. That's it for chapters 40 and 41 of The Dragon Reborn. Join us next week to discuss chapters 42 and 43, where we see Grey Men and Darkhounds, and there's a Forsaken in town.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Wheel of Time Pod-Thru.
We'll see you again next week. Make sure you rate and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or wherever your favorite podcatcher might be. If you could leave us a positive review, it would really help us out. It makes us more visible so more people can find us. You can tweet us at WhatPodThru or email us at whatpodthru@gmail.com and tell us your thoughts on anything we covered today.
That's WOTPODTHRU@gmail.com, or find our Wheel of Time Pod-Thru channel on YouTube. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, you know the drill. Thanks, everybody, and we hope the wheel weaves you in our direction again soon.